Mystery at Blind Frog Ranch. Chad had never imagined his life would take such a wild turn. Just months ago, he was drifting through small-town America, a man without a clear purpose or direction. Then came the letter, an invitation that felt more like a summons, from the influential church family, the Harrisons. The Harrisons were a name steeped in power, tradition, and mystery, with roots deeply intertwined in the history and culture of the American West. Their sprawling estate, Blind Frog Ranch, was a legend in itself, known for both its beauty and the whispered secrets buried beneath its surface. The ranch stretched across miles of rugged land, nestled between jagged cliffs and dense pine forests. The air was thick with the scent of pine needles and earth, a place where time seemed to slow, and the outside world melted away. Chad's arrival at Blind Frog Ranch was marked by a mix of awe and unease. The family's welcome was measured, formal, yet tinged with an unspoken curiosity, as if they were evaluating whether Chad was worthy of their trust. Days bled into one another as Chad familiarized himself with the sprawling property. The ranch was a living entity, with its weathered barns, ancient trees, and the relentless hum of nature's pulse. He explored the trails that wound through the forest, the creeks that carved the land, and the quiet, sun-dappled meadows where deer often grazed. The Harrisons seemed to expect something from him, something beyond a mere presence. It was as if Chad was a key to unlocking a part of the ranch's hidden legacy. One afternoon, while wandering along the edge of the property, Chad noticed a peculiar formation near a cluster of twisted juniper trees. The ground sloped steeply downward, leading to a narrow opening partially obscured by brush and fallen logs. The opening was just large enough to slip through, revealing the faint glint of something metallic deep inside. Intrigued, Chad cleared the entrance and cautiously made his way inside. The tunnel was narrow and dim, but it quickly widened into a cavern that stretched far beyond what the eye could see. The walls shimmered with veins of quartz and flecks of something richer, gold, silver. Chad's pulse quickened as he realized this was no ordinary cave. This was a mine, hidden beneath the ranch, forgotten by time. He ventured deeper, the faint sound of dripping water echoing off the stone. The air grew cooler, heavier with the scent of earth and minerals. Stalactites hung from the ceiling like ancient teeth, and the floor was littered with remnants of old tools, rusted picks, broken lanterns, fragments of wooden carts. The place was a ghost of a bygone era, a secret preserved in the silence. Chad's mind raced. How had the Harrisons kept this mine a secret? Was it theirs by right or by chance? The answer lay in the past, in stories whispered long ago but never told aloud. Blind Frog Ranch was more than just a family estate. It was a vault of history, ambition, and hidden wealth. As he moved further into the mine, Chad discovered old inscriptions carved into the stone walls. Symbols, dates, and cryptic messages hinted at the mine's origin. It had been dug by pioneers seeking fortune during the gold rush, but it was abandoned when tragedy struck. A collapse had sealed the mine, cutting off the miners from the outside world. The Harrisons had inherited the land decades later, but the mine's true value remained undisclosed, a secret held tight like a precious jewel. Chad's discovery sparked a fire within him. The mine represented opportunity, danger, and a connection to something larger than himself. But it also posed questions. Why had the family kept this secret? What risks lay in revealing it? And what price would be paid for unearthing the past? He began to piece together the history of Blind Frog Ranch, tracing the lineage of the Harrisons and their ties to the mine. The family's wealth had come from many sources, but none as significant as the mineral riches hidden beneath the earth. The mine had been their safeguard during hard times, a hidden asset to be protected at all costs. Yet, Chad sensed tension beneath the surface. Not all members of the Harrison family agreed on how to handle the mine. Some saw it as a path to prosperity, others as a burden that could attract unwanted attention. The secret was a double-edged sword, promising salvation but threatening destruction. Chad's nights were restless as he wrestled with the weight of his discovery. He walked the ranch under a silver moon, the vastness of the land reminding him of the smallness of a single man's dreams. Yet, within that smallness was the spark of destiny, a chance to reshape his life and the legacy of the Harrisons. The mine demanded patience and respect. Chad began to document its depths, sketching maps and cataloging findings. The deeper he ventured, the more he realized the mine was more than a source of wealth. It was a testament to human perseverance and the secrets buried within the land itself. The trees grew, the flow of the streams, the shifting patterns of light and shadow. The ranch was alive with stories, waiting to be told by those willing to listen. In time, Chad found himself more connected to the land and the family that had claimed him. The Harrisons were no longer distant strangers, but guardians of a shared destiny. The mine was a bridge between past and future, a silent witness to the struggles and triumphs that had shaped the region. Chad's discovery at Blind Frog Ranch was more than a tale of hidden gold. It was a journey into the heart of heritage, identity, and the enduring power of secrets kept beneath the earth. As the sun set behind the rugged peaks, casting a golden glow over the ranch, Chad understood that he was no longer a drifter, but a keeper of the mine's story, and that story was just beginning. The horizon burned with the amber glow of dusk as Chad rode the narrow dirt path leading into Blind Frog Ranch. The sprawling property stretched endlessly beneath a vast western sky, a rugged tapestry of sagebrush, towering junipers, and rocky outcrops shadowed by the setting sun. A powerful Mormon family had claimed him, or perhaps he had been claimed by them. It was hard to say which. The Harrisons, known for their deep roots in the land and quiet influence, had taken him in after years of wandering, seeing potential where others only saw aimlessness. Chad had arrived at the ranch a stranger, burdened with an uneasy past and a restless spirit. The family's patriarch, an imposing figure shaped by faith and tradition, had entrusted Chad with duties that went beyond simple labor. There was a watchful expectation in their eyes, a belief that the land and its secrets required more than just hard work. They demanded guardianship. Days turned into weeks as Chad learned the rhythms of the ranch. He rose before dawn to tend the horses, feeling the chill of morning seep into his bones. He traced the weathered fences, repaired broken gates, and worked alongside men whose faces bore the dust and sun of 100 seasons. Yet, it was the land itself that fascinated him most, the way the wind whispered through the cottonwoods, the way shadows pooled in the canyons at midday, and the distant hills that seemed to hold mysteries beneath their stone skin. One morning, while exploring the far reaches of the property, Chad's path led him toward an old arroyo, a dry creek bed hidden beneath a tangled thicket of wild chokecherry bushes. Something about the place called to him, an unspoken invitation that stirred the air around him. As he pushed through the dense brush, his boot struck something solid and unnatural beneath the dirt. A rough, iron ring, half buried and worn with age and treat. Chad knelt and cleared the soil around the ring. It was attached to a heavy wooden hatch, its surface scarred and faded, concealed beneath years of detritus. The hatch creaked and groaned as he levered it open, revealing a narrow staircase descending into shadow. The cool, damp air that greeted him was thick with the scent of earth and minerals. The light of the fading sun barely reached the entrance, and Chad had to pull a battered lantern from his pack. The glow revealed rough-hewn walls of stone, slick with moisture and veined with glimmers of quartz. This was no ordinary cellar or root storage. It was a mine. Stepping carefully down the stairs, Chad's mind raced. The Harrisons had owned this land for generations, yet there was no mention of any mine in the family's lore or the ranch's official history. The discovery felt like uncovering a buried secret, a chapter of the land's story erased by time. Deeper in, the tunnel forked into winding passages, each one disappearing into the dark like a throat swallowing a whisper. The walls bore the marks of pickaxes and chisel strikes, and wooden beams propped up the ceilings where the stone threatened to collapse. Old mining carts sat derelict on rusted tracks, their wheels frozen in place. Tools lay scattered on the ground, corroded but unmistakably human relics. Chad traced his fingers along the veins of mineral embedded in the rock, his breath catching at the subtle gleam of gold flecks. It was as though the earth itself had hidden away a fortune, a precious secret held close for decades or perhaps centuries. The deeper he ventured, the more the silence weighed upon him. This mine was not just a source of wealth, it was a graveyard of forgotten dreams. Somewhere in the shadows lay stories of hardship, ambition, and perhaps loss. Chad felt a kinship with the nameless miners who had toiled here, their hopes frozen in stone outside. The ranch carried on unaware, the routine of cattle drives and chores continuing under the vast sky. But inside the earth, a silent pulse throbbed, alive with secrets waiting to be claimed.